What is up, YouTube? What is up, Christianology family? So we have an abortionist, not abortionist, a person who is pro-choice or whatever. Pro-choice, yeah, pro-choice. Yeah. What I've learned is that these people just like killing babies for a living. They like killing babies because they don't want to take care of a baby, but they want to have sex unprotected. Want to have unprotected sex? You get a baby. 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 That's what you do.
Glad you asked that.
Yeah, come on in. Come on in.
Welcome to the conversation.
Did you say what does God have to do with legislation?
Talking about slavery and the Holocaust.
No, and that's a different. She's asking a different question. Can I answer that? Would you mind if I answer it? Separation of church and state.
Go home, shoot your dogs, set your house on fire.
Well, would you mind if I showed her the respect?
That is your choice.
Would you mind if I?
Just know that.
Would you mind if I showed? Would you mind if I showed her the respect of answering your question? Okay, so you asked the question of separation of church and state. That doctrine of separation of church and state, if you like it, you should thank a Christian for it, because Christians developed that in history. And the separation of church and state did not mean the separation of God and state. They were trying to avoid the Church of England situation where the church is controlled by the state. Separation of church and state is not in our constitutional documents. You can find it in a letter from Thomas Jefferson to the Dansbury Baptists reiterating the Christian historical doctrine of separation of church and state. Separation of church and state does not mean separation of God and state. God bless you.
Children with special needs should be killed. So if a child is in pain, we should kill the child.
Well, if a child. Well, there are some cases
So
where.
yes,
Oh, come on.
well, that's what you said. So we shouldn't kill sick children, just to be clear.
I know, and I also heard
Don't
that
kill
you guys
sick
were
children, is that what
I
you're saying?
know,
'Cause
I
I would
also
agree.
heard that you guys don't like rape and incest. Like you think that women and girls should be forced to keep.
I don't think you should kill a child for the sins of her father.
Okay, so
No.
what if the girl's like 12? You think that a 12?
I think we should execute the rapist.
Yeah. The rapist should.
You believe we should execute the child
I believe we should execute the rapist.
And not the product of their rape?
because they're.
make very much sense.
No, it does. Can I answer? Can I answer that? It's a good question. Sure. Okay. I'll do you then you.
12-year-old girl
Yeah.
gets raped. A 12-year-old
Yeah.
gets raped, gets pregnant. We can go as low to 11 even, because of how menstruation works.
Right.
11-year-old gets pregnant. You're forcing that 11-year-old to keep that baby and birth that baby, even though 11-year-olds are not supposed to give birth.
It's an evil. Can I answer that? It's an evil thing you're talking about, because you're talking about a man doing something to a girl's body apart from her will and her choice, right? And so if you're against rape, you should be fully against abortion, because what's happening in abortion is a person is doing something to some. I am answering it. I'm not finished. Sometimes no. I'm trying to. You cut me off. I didn't get to finish.
Okay, finish.
So it takes sometimes more than 5 sentences to answer a question.
You can answer, but
So
you're
I was saying that if you believe that rape is wrong and repulsive, you should be against the issue of abortion, because what's happening in rape is the same in principle issue that's happening in rape. Someone is doing something to somebody's body apart from their will, right, and without their permission. I believe that the man who rapes the 11-year-old girl, right, I believe that he deserves the death penalty. You believe the child deserves the death penalty.
You still didn't. Okay, how about this? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Pursue the rapist.
You would force that 11-year-old to give birth to a child.
When you say force,
Yes or no?
when you say force, you're assuming the category of the option to murder the child.
Over here. He's pretty astonished.
What happened in rape was an evil, immoral thing
Okay, so yeah, like-
that you haven't responded to
Shut
yet
up.
in terms
Answer
of.
my question.
I
Yes,
did.
Yes or no?
I believe we should pursue the rapist, and like Brian said, you should not punish the child for the crime of the
So
father.
the 11-year-old would have to stay pregnant and give birth.
I believe that we should not take one issue where there's a victim and create 2 victims. You're arguing create more
Yes or
victims.
no, you would force
I just answered you. We should not create.
I want you to
I'm
say yes,
answering
I
you.
would-
I'm answering you. If you would let me say it.
You're
We
not
should
saying
not.
so.
We should not, like you suggest, create more victims. You already have a victim and a crime.
You have a victim
We
of crime
should
who's going to have to
pursue.
then go through
We should
9
pursue
full months of being
the
pregnant. When
rapist.
she's 11 years old, give birth to a child.
She's a
Go through
victim.
all of that trauma.
She's a victim.
Why?
Well, you call it trauma, right?
Yes,
and I agree. And I agree. And I agree. And I agree. I agree. Do you see what happened is that you didn't let me finish the thought.
Well, 'cause he's-
Let me finish. I said you call it trauma, and I agree, but why is it trauma?
Because she got raped and then she has to stay
Because
pregnant
someone
when she's
did something to her
11 years
body
old.
against her
Yeah,
will.
and you were forcing her to
That's
keep
what
that
happens in
baby.
abortion. So if you're against rape, you should be against abortion.
So you're saying
have to understand it's
I'd like to hear you respond to that, because you haven't yet.
if what that abortion is equivalent to rape.
It's a human being doing something to another human being.
Well, let me, the same as raping an 11-year-old
I don't know why you're
girl?
speaking Latin here. Fetus means small child or baby. So you can speak English. We're in Louisiana. You guys do talk kind of funny, but
Zygote, when there's
what's that?
a sperm cell and an egg cell that are still in the process of conjoining.
No,
whatever, 5
it's
days after the woman is raped.
and that's a very good question. You have a library
Bless
here.
you.
Okay? And all biological textbooks, you can check this out, you can leave right from here and find it out. All biological textbooks will argue and agree today, without question, is not disputed, that all human life begins at the moment of conception, the very moment of conception. You and, what's your name?
My name's Annie.
Annie, I'm Jeff. I'm Jeff. It's not a lie. Go look it up. The moment of conception, all human life is at the moment of conception. So you, Annie, were the you are today as a human at that very moment. The only difference was a difference of size, level of development, environment, and degree of dependence. Biologically speaking, you were the you are now at that moment of conception. That's indisputable today.
Except she is a person with a personality and memories and friends and autonomy.
Okay, so let's try. Can I try any of
And, like,
those?
a grown adult.
Can I ask a
Great,
question?
great. So we can kill 9-year-olds then, because you said grown adults will make you human.
Well, I said like
Well, that's what you
memories.
said. You think we
and-
should kill rapists?
I believe that rapists who go so far as to abuse a woman deserve capital punishment. Yes,
We should
Why do you
protect
throw
innocent life, but the rapist is not innocent.
he's guilty.
You think we should kill him?
Yes.
You believe we should kill the children. We believe the rapist should be
I
killed.
believe in the death penalty for rapists, but not for.
You believe in the death penalty for the baby. We believe in it for the rapist. Yes,
believe,
and I stand very proud on
Going
that.
under the medical procedure of terminating,
Murdering a child.
whatever, is much different than killing.
You're using a lot of euphemisms. When you said fetus, that's a Latin word. It means baby. And when you said abortion, it's a euphemism for the unjustified
Killing.
taking of human life.
You
So
have
you
to
can
understand
you
that
can
these
speak
are
with as much
fundamentally
clarity as you
different.
want.
Jeff, I think he just said that he wants to protect the lives of rapists. Is that correct?
That is what he said.
I don't think.
I don't-
I mean, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Do you believe that we should?
a preborn
Do you believe that we should protect the lives of rapists? I mean, maybe I misunderstood you. Could you answer?
He never said a single thing about the
Well,
treatment of rapists.
I'm not
So
sure. I'd
please
like him to
don't put
answer.
that word into his mouth.
I'd like him to
Because he was
answer.
not talking about rapists.
So do you believe we should
He was
protect the
talking
lives
about
of
the
rapists?
victim
Yes or
of
no?
rape
Annie, yes,
and
go ahead.
whoever was conceived by rape. So
Right.
I really don't appreciate this like super.
I'm asking.
Well, you guys were actually mocking the fact that as Christians we believe God's law that a man who rapes a woman deserves to die because he's guilty. You mock that, but you guys believe that we should kill the child. We believe the rapist should be killed judicially. You believe that children should be killed.
So what should?
By the way, I have friends who are the products of rape. They would stand here arguing with you right now saying, I thank God that I wasn't killed for the crime of my father. They are beautiful, amazing, thriving human beings today.
great.
Should
That's
we
great.
kill them?
Not now.
They're the products
Not
of rape.
now, obviously.
But you're arguing that the products of rape should be executed.
We're arguing that it's up to the mother because at that point, for the next 9 months, the mother's going to be carrying the child. For the next 18 plus years, she's going to be carrying.
She carrying a what?
The child.
Okay.
That's what I think she said, carrying the child, didn't she?
Okay, guys, if this is the argument that y'all are working off of,
You know
it's
that's what
me,
you said, Annie. That's what
then
you
that's pretty
said.
unfortunate.
I guess it was a Freudian slip. I don't know, but you said the
Okay.
mother carries a
Does
child
this
in
make
the
y'all feel
womb.
good to be like?
No, we
grown
love
men?
you. We love you. We love you. We
makes
care
us
for you.
feel
Let's go back.
Children are
to
being
what I
killed.
was saying.
Okay,
We're
sorry.
saying that it's up to the mother, right? Because the zygote at that point, the egg and the sperm of her rapist are not going to survive outside of her body.
Well,
They're
yeah,
not gonna
it's
survive
not.
in- Can I
Here's
finish
yeah,
talking
it's
now?
not. I'm just saying it's not an egg and a sperm. If they
I thought I couldn't interrupt you, but you can interrupt me.
if they combine.
Right, the zygote.
Right.
Okay, can
Yeah.
you please finish?
Yes.
Right, so the zygote's not going to exist without her. The zygote is totally dependent on the mother for the next 9 months and potentially for the rest of her life. We're saying it should be up to the mother because she has to deal with the trauma. Oftentimes, like rape addicts, especially in Louisiana, where they're not getting the treatment they need, they're contracting STIs, they have PTSD, they turn to addiction, all those sorts of things. So what you're doing is you're condemning that mother to an awful life, to continue living with like the repercussion of her rape and this reminder of the trauma she went through. Because unless you're also advocating for like stopping a backlog of rape kits and you're advocating for like comprehensive sex education, more than just abstinence-only sex education and free contraceptive and free STI testing and welfare for black mothers.
Can I respond to all that? Can I respond?
I'm still finishing.
Okay.
Unless you're advocating
You're
for
making about 10 different
stuff.
points. I'd like to respond
No,
to
I'm
any
saying
one of them.
Because like here's the argument that you guys are like supporting the life and that we're murderers for wanting like mothers to be able to decide if they are raped what they do with the zygote. And I'm saying that you're condemning those women to an awful life.
Yeah,
so
can
you're
I-
saying they justify to be in like psychological death for the rest of their lives.
Can I respond now?
Now
Okay.
that I'm done, you
Okay.
can respond.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. So you made an argument that because the human being, because when the sperm and egg meet, it makes a unique human being. So you're using a lot of euphemisms, but the human being from conception is dependent upon the mother. And so therefore she ought to be able to kill it because it's dependent upon her. So you wouldn't have any argument then with the mother who pulled over, this is fairly recently in our history, she pulled over to the side of the road, she turned around and shot her like 6 and 8-year-old kid in the chest and killed him. They were both dependent upon her. Both dependent. Right, so that's a significant issue in terms of when you talk about dependence. It's dependent upon me, so I ought to be able to kill
Yeah,
it.
Jeff, it's not the same thing because she could have dismembered them as
True.
children are in the womb.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
shooting them in the chest
Or chemically
was a lot less painful than them being their limbs being removed one by one until they bled to death.
Yeah, and you'll well, I'm gonna finish.
Shooting of children.
I'm gonna answer her question. You've already been refuted up and down, my friend.
Okay.
So we've spent 45 minutes with you. So the next thing, when you said dependence, I have a 2-year-old, and I have 5 kids. My 2-year-old's fully dependent upon me. Fully dependent upon me. Can I kill him because he's dependent? Would that argument work in court? It wouldn't work in court.
Can I explain
Well,
what I would say to that then?
Well, yes, go ahead. You had a lot of points I was trying to get to, but go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if I have the patience to stay here for the whole time. I think you're conflating different types of dependence, right? So, like, obviously your 2-year-old is economically dependent on you because he can't hold his own job. So he's relying on you, your family structure, your community, your neighborhood, those sorts of things. What I'm talking about is...
I mean, he's not just economically dependent.
Yeah, and, like, mentally, because, like, you have an emotional bond, whatever. He can't drive a car, all those sorts of things.
Feed himself?
I'm not... Okay, what's...
See, there's more than just a simple category. You and I go out of degrees of dependence on other humans our entire lives. When you were
answering, so...
Yeah. Well, I wasn't finished either, and you tried to.
I asked.
Yeah.
I asked if I
I know, but now I'd like to respond to that though.
Okay, so you'll cut me off to keep going.
Well, you had about 10 points. I was addressing one, and then you wanted to respond. You didn't let me do that, so I'm just trying to respond as much as I can.
You let her go.
Okay.
Let her go.
Okay. Yeah, and now I'm going to respond to your point and
you're gonna cut me off, okay.
demonstrate that it's an error. You and I go through different degrees of dependence as human beings our entire lives. From the moment we come into this world, we're fully dependent, like nursing moms are displaying fully that their children are dependent upon them to survive. You wouldn't argue, I don't think, that a nursing mother who just at 9 months in said, this is a hassle, it's difficult for me, I'm going to go ahead and decapitate this child. You wouldn't argue that that's justified, would you?
Will I be able to answer fully now? If I respond right now, can I answer fully?
Sure, go ahead.
Won't cut me off?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
So what I was talking about in terms of dependence earlier was there's...
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I don't get it. I don't know if all this is gonna change these people's minds. I think they just want to kill that baby. So I don't know, man. If you want to kill your baby, I don't know if we could stop you, because them doing this street preaching, I don't think it's gonna help them. I don't think they care about that. I don't think so. Maybe in their heads it might play over and over. Maybe he said that. But these people don't believe in God. They don't believe in God. They worship Satan. So if you worship Satan, you're gonna do everything Satan agrees with, and Satan wants all God's children to be killed.